we've been talking about expanding, but before you expand, we also have to look at some of the major issues, that's like pipeline vandalism. The Minister of Finance actually talked about it, and this is one of the reasons why we had so much issues, because they're constantly on the road because they can't, send the commodity through the pipes. How much has been lost? Let's talk about the financial implication. In the last, let's just say 3 years, how much has been lost?
Okay, it's been a steady increase in the last 3 years. Pipeline vandalism has cost us, for instance, in 2012, we're looking at about 19 billion naira loss, and then about 38, in 2014. So think about, sorry, in 2012, 2013, in 2013, we were looking at about 38, and then in 2014 we're looking at somewhere about 45. So you can imagine how much has been lost. So that's a major one, because again, that shows that there's a whole dedication of maybe a criminal network essentially going behind this, because pipelines are probably the best way to distribute products across the country. Think about it. A truck will take about how many days to get to Abuja from Lagos? I mean, that's even Abuja, and then not even Maiduguri
or those hinterlands.
Or those hinterlands, exactly. So for some, it may take as much as 7-8 days. I was reading something about the DPR boss in Benue, who was complaining that typically Benue would expect about 4 trucks, but now they're getting about 2. Or rather, they will spend about 15 trucks. They're getting about 4 currently. So, which tells you a little issue, because trucks are not really the effective way to distribute these products, And again, that's a cost on the government, which has to go back into the subsidy calculations because of distribution. It's not effective. It's more expensive because the trucks will consume diesel, And even for the companies that are looking to expand their retail outlets, it's cheaper for them if the pipeline system works, because the pipelines would get the products to the various NNPC depots, some of which are now no longer operational. NNPC previously had about 21 operational depots across the country, and so it would be easy to truck fuel out of Mosimi, Atlas Cove in Lagos, ship it to Benin, ship it to Ajakuta, ship it to Abuja, ship it to Kano, and move it around the country. But now you can't even ship fuel at times. I mean, it's almost like it's a custom. Every January we have an issue at Arepo, and it's been that custom for the past 3 years. Almost every January there's some incident at Arepo. It's either a fire, or some people were caught, or there was a major battle or something, and Arepo is shut down.
So that means this will also definitely affect the production capacity, production output actually we're expecting, because in the budget it's projected, well, it was actually lower, about 2.3 million barrels per day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely it's going to affect, and that means we're going to see something coming in lower, not reaching that particular target.
Yeah, I think on the production side, we'll see some small increase in Nigeria in 2015. There are some fields that will still come on stream because the projection, most of the field development work has been completed. Take, for instance, Total finished the Orphan field gas flare-out project, and that field was doing about 25. That field is going to be ramped up to 90 before the end of the year. Shell is still on stream, is still on track to bring one of the Bonga fields on stream. That should add about 40 to 50,000 barrels per day. So, and then there are several other field ramp-ups programs by some of the Nigerian independents to get their fields up to certain capacity. Seplat is trying to ramp up production on some of their fields. We're seeing similar by Wando and so many other Nigerian independents. So some production will increase, but the issue will be, how do we evacuate these products from the various fields? The pipelines are ineffective. I mean, look at the refineries. We have to supply the refineries currently by vessel. That is ineffective also too, because it's more expensive. The vessels or the barges can only move maybe about 3,000 liters or 3,000 barrels rather. The refineries need a lot more than that. So there's constant trip, there's small quantities, which affects the refinery capacity. We've seen the refinery capacity in Nigeria fall to about 20%. In fact, for 2014, the refineries were at an average of about 18% also last year. So we're sourcing about 80% of our fuel products, which again comes back to why we're having issues, because we have to source everything from outside the country, exchange rate exposure, logistics problems. We can now, when we get the products in at the ports, we can't ship it across the country. We have to use trucks. And that's why this particular scarcity, if you look at it, it started from other states. Because, first of all, there was a logistical issue. They couldn't even move the products there. And the marketers were not ready to take the cost anymore because, number one, they couldn't import. And then they were taking losses already on the ones they had imported. And then the cost of pushing it to that part of the country, they had to rate everything in.
So going forward, And of course, right now we're seeing that the queues are beginning to reduce because the petroleum products have actually started hitting the market. Everybody seems to be happy, at least for the moment.
For now, yeah.
But going forward, what should be done to ensure that we always have a gain-gain situation, not a win-win situation, but a gain-gain situation?
Yeah, I think what's essential is part of what is being done at the moment, which is encourage a lot of private investment in the refinery space. And the target shouldn't necessarily just be the very large-scale refineries. Where there's capacity for those large-scale refineries, like the Dangote refinery, I think it's very essential because that will form base load supply in the future. But in the meantime, something similar to what the NNPC is trying to do with some modular refineries, 25,000 barrels per day capacity refineries in various parts of the countries, where supply can get to. You know, maybe we shouldn't take them too far into the country. I mean, we are looking at ideas like Edo, Delta, Lagos, still in the southwest, but areas where you can easily supply either by coast or by pipeline or by truck or something, you know, but you can get the barrels there and you can produce. Because, again, if you look across Africa, and I look at sub-Saharan Africa in my work, over 70 refineries were announced that they were going to be built in the last 10 years. Only 2 actually completed. And those 2 were in Chad and Niger. They were 20,000 barrel per day refineries. So those small refineries have a knack of being easy to finance, easy to complete. So I think that's the strategy one. So that's one. And then there should be a gradual deregulation of PMS. It will be difficult to do it at one fell swoop. Because at the moment, what the government is having to pay in subsidy is quite a lot. I mean, when you're looking at declining oil revenues and you're paying $40 naira per liter, it's a lot.
That's a lot. Well, thank you so much, Dolapo, for joining me on the program this morning and sharing your thoughts. It's been an interesting conversation. I'm sure we're going to have it again. Maybe, hopefully not in the short to medium term.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you've been watching this morning on Channels Television, and we've been looking at the petroleum industry, latest issues in subsidy, supplies, and pricing. And I've been having a conversation with Dolapo Oni. He's the head, oil and gas research, Ecobank Capital. Of course, the conversation doesn't end here. Make sure you catch up with us at This Morning, or you can send a mail to businessmorning@channelstv.com. I'm Harriet Agbenyi. Bye-bye.